Here's a hard truth. Most job seekers don't fail because they're unqualified. They fail because they don't have a strategy. Yesterday, in Deep Dive Saturday, we unpacked SMART goals step by step. Today, I'm taking you further. Welcome to Strategy Sunday. I'm Imani, your career coach. I'm here to help you stand out above the rest, build the skills that matter in this new AI era, and land your dream job, even in the most competitive, remote-first job market we've ever seen. On this channel, you'll get real tips, interview prep strategies, and a few hacks I've picked up that can make a huge difference. Essentially, I'm here to walk with you through the process, so you don't have to figure it out alone. Now let's talk strategy. Because here's the truth. You can set a goal like apply to 15 jobs. That's clear. It's measurable. It's even achievable. But without a strategy, you risk falling into the same cycle of wasted energy. You sit down Monday morning, coffee in hand, scroll endlessly, apply to whatever pops up, and by Friday, you're drained, discouraged, and no closer to the job you actually want. Strategy is what transforms goals into results. And in today's job market, especially with AI reshaping industries faster than universities can even update their textbooks, strategy isn't optional. It's survival. So let's start with a simple truth. Every job seeker has the same 168 hours in a week. What separates those who land interviews from those who stay stuck isn't luck. It's how they use those hours. Goals tell you what to aim for. Strategy tells you how to actually get there. One of the biggest mistakes I see is treating the job search like a series of random tasks instead of a structured plan. Without structure, your brain burns energy on decision fatigue. What site should I use? Which job should I apply for first? Should I tweak my resume or send it as is? And by the time you make those decisions, you've already lost momentum. That's why a weekend reset matters. Strategy means carving out time and creating a repeatable system so that Monday through Friday, you're not scrambling. You're executing. Here's where most job seekers go wrong. They think they need to reinvent the wheel every single week. But what actually works is building repeatable weekly practices. Think of it like fitness. If your goal is to get in shape, you don't just say, I'll work out someday. You schedule your workouts. You set a plan. 3 days of strength training, 2 days of cardio, 1 day of stretching. And then you repeat it until it becomes a habit. Job searching works the same way. SMART goals are the target, but strategy is the workout plan. And just like a fitness plan, you need balance. Too much of one thing, like applying to jobs non-stop without networking, and you burn out. Too little structure, and you don't move forward. So today, we're going to build your weekly job search strategy together. By the end of this session, you'll have a framework you can repeat every single week. No more wasted energy. No more scrolling black holes. Instead, you'll know exactly when to set goals, when to apply, when to update, and when to reset. And before you think this sounds overwhelming, let me remind you, the strongest strategies are simple. They don't complicate your life. They free up your mental space so you can focus on showing up confident, prepared, and consistent. Now let's expand this into a practical routine. First, decide your anchor day. For most people, that's Friday or Sunday. This is when you write down your goals, map your applications, and plan your practice. Once you lock in that anchor, the rest of your week flows naturally. For example, Carla, you remember her from yesterday, went from retail to tech. Her old method was reactive. She'd scroll Indeed when she felt like it, apply to whatever caught her eye, and end each week with nothing to show for it. Once we built her a strategy, her weekend looked different. Friday, she set her application goals. Saturday, she updated her resume and LinkedIn with one new star story. Sunday, she recorded a mock interview. And Monday morning, she wasn't guessing. She knew exactly which 15 jobs to apply for, and she had fresh stories ready to go. Within 4 weeks, she had 4 interviews and landed a remote AI customer success role at $72,000. That's the power of strategy. Now, I want you to think about your own week. How are you currently spending your time? Do you have a strategy, or are you just reacting? Are you letting the job boards control your energy, or are you building a routine that puts you in control? Because here's the truth. Strategy doesn't just make you look more prepared to hiring managers. It makes you feel more prepared. And that confidence comes through on video, on the phone, and in person. Here's the thing about strategy. It's not about adding more work. It's about aligning your work so that everything you do builds toward the same goal. Without a strategy, you can waste hours tweaking your resume, but never actually apply. You can send out 50 applications, but if they're random and unfocused, you'll hear nothing back. Strategy makes sure your actions compound instead of canceling each other out. Let's break the strategy into layers. Layer 1, credibility. That means updating your resume, adding star stories, polishing your LinkedIn, and practicing your video presence. This is your foundation. Without it, applying to jobs is like building a house on sand. It won't hold up. Layer 2, scale. Once your credibility is solid, then you can start applying at volume. This is where tools like the Smart Assistant come in. Imagine submitting 200 curated applications in a week while you sleep. But scale without credibility just multiplies failure. That's why we start with the foundation. Layer 3, visibility. Networking, informational interviews, referrals. These amplify your reach. But again, they only work if layers 1 and 2 are in place. If you show up on LinkedIn with a weak resume or no clear story, your network can't help you. Here's the strategy. Each week, check your foundation first. Did you update your resume? Do you have a fresh star story? Did you practice at least one video interview? Then move to scale. How many targeted applications are you sending? And finally, build visibility. Who did you connect with, follow up with, or ask for insight? This layered approach works because it keeps you balanced. Instead of pouring all your energy into one area, you're building strength across the board. Now let's talk about real-world application. One of my clients, Jen, came from hospitality. When the pandemic hit, her job vanished overnight. She felt invisible. Her vague plan was to start looking for jobs again. But that's not a strategy. That's a hope. When we built her weekend routine, everything shifted. She started setting smart goals Friday night. She updated her resume on Saturday. She practiced her video answers on Sunday. And she tracked everything in a simple notebook. Not a fancy app, just pen and paper. Within 8 weeks, she landed a remote AI implementation specialist role at $95,000. Her manager told her, "You felt polished on video." That was the deciding factor. Her success didn't come from luck. It came from strategy. So ask yourself, what's your layered strategy this week? What's one action you can take in credibility, in scale, and in visibility? Write it down. Share it in the comments. Because accountability turns goals into reality. And remember, strategy isn't about perfection, it's about direction. As long as you're moving forward, adjusting, and resetting each week, you're ahead of most job seekers out there. Let me bring this home. Yesterday, we talked about SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Today, we've layered on the strategy: credibility, scale, and visibility. Together, they form your weekend reset system. Let's be real. Without a strategy, you'll waste hours scrolling job boards and end the week with nothing tangible to show for it. But with a strategy, even small actions stack up. Update one star story. Record one video answer. Apply to 15 targeted jobs. Connect with 3 professionals. By themselves, these steps seem small. Together, they create momentum that employers can't ignore. And let me remind you, the future of work is already here. Companies are adapting fast. Roles that didn't exist 5 years ago are hiring today. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's whether you'll be ready. That's why we start with credibility. Carla built hers by moving from retail to tech. Jen built hers after losing her hospitality role. Stanford built his when he was stuck at $60,000. Within 1 month of resetting his resume, adding AI-related skills, and practicing video interviews weekly, he landed a new role paying $75,000. He didn't become more qualified overnight. He became more strategic. So what's your next step? Don't just set goals. Build your weekly strategy around them. Layer 1, credibility. Layer 2, scale. Layer 3, visibility. Do this week after week, and your career trajectory changes. Now let's pivot forward. Tomorrow is Momentum Monday, where we'll connect these strategies to accessing resources for job seekers. It can be stressful looking for a job or adding an AI skill when you're a paycheck away from homelessness or you're struggling on a budget. This week will be all about giving you resources that you can execute to ease your mind so that you don't have to worry about money and stacking your skills at the same time. Before you go, here's your challenge. Write down one strategic action for each layer: credibility, scale, and visibility. Post it in the comments so I can cheer you on. And don't forget to like this video so other job seekers like you can find it. Check out my other video, Why 70% of Jobs Are Hidden and How to Move Up. You'll find the link in the description. You're not just applying for jobs, you're preparing for the future of work. And this is history in the making. See you tomorrow.